8 days from today, voters will gather at their respective polling stations to choose their next president and members of parliament on January 14th. As indicated in parliament during the amendment to the electoral law, the commission has banned all media from accessing the polling stations during voting and ballot counting.
And you know our booth, our voting booth, is our cabesin. Then you have a camera which is so powerful, you train on the voter and you capture this voter ticking or thumbprinting. You cannot allow that, really.
The restriction also applies to the rest of the public, who are required to return to their homes after voting to avoid crowding at the polling stations to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Now, if you are going to encourage 1,000 voters at that polling station to remain around, what are you doing? Be careful, you may end up losing your votes even, you the candidate. Because should these people start any chaos or confusion at that polling station that leads to disruption and possible destruction, then forget what has come from that polling station is dead.
Voters and other members of the public will also not be allowed to take selfies of themselves at the polling station.
You are not allowed to get this ballot paper after you have marked it and then you take a picture or a photograph of the same. No.
Voters are also barred from wearing clothing or posters that belong to one of the parties or candidates at a polling station.
Or the colors of the candidate or the portrait of the candidate and so on and so forth. No more campaigns.
According to the Electoral Commission, each of the candidates for presidential and directly elected MPs will be allowed to have 2 agents at a polling station, excluding the EC officials and security. Justice Byabakama says that all agents will be given declaration forms at the end of the process. Tallying of the results will be done at the district tally centers, which will be fitted with screens to relay results as they come in from all polling stations in the district. Journalists will only be allowed in this place.
Because you see tally centers, they are just now receiving centers. They are even screens. So what are we hiding? So you can come with your camera, you can zoom on the returning officer for 30 minutes, 1 hour.
Byabakama also had this to say when asked about the reports that the National Unity Platform was planning to set up their own tally center, parallel to the one run by the EC.
And the law commands or requires us to give every candidate a copy of the declaration of results from each polling station so that you know what everybody has scored that polling station. So I do not understand the concept of the tally center. But if you are going to misuse that tally center or to use it for purposes of misleading the people of Uganda, to declare your own results, when the law says it is only the commission that is tasked, that is mandated to do so, then you are playing a dangerous game.
Today, Electoral Commission started dispatching voting kits to all districts to be secured by the police and the returning officer.
It is going to be the first time in the history of Uganda to have an election without the media presence at polling stations. At the time when the Electoral Commission announced the roadmap, there was that suggestion that the media will not be allowed at polling stations, which brought an outcry from civil society claiming that this was a move orchestrated to ensure they keep the watchdog away. This can also be explained by the fact that in the previous elections there have been petitions filed in court by the opposition on the account of vote rigging. And therefore, a section of other activists are believing that without the media presence at polling stations, a lot of many wrong things could happen behind a camera lens. Sudhir Byaruhanga, NTV.